Hey guys, so today is day 19. Yes, it's day 19 of the gratitude jam. I'm starting to lose count. So today I'm very thankful to Scotty. Scotty is a golden retriever that I'm babysitting. And I'm very thankful to him because I'll tell you why. So Scotty is a very lovely dog, but he is very stubborn and he is very strong. And he has this weird thing that whenever we go out for a walk, sometimes he would just stop and stand in the middle of the street and refuse to move an inch, no matter what I do. No matter, I will drag him, I will, entice him with treats, he would not do it. He would not. He would just refuse to move. So this morning he did it again, and we ended up, standing in the middle of the road for like 10, 15 minutes, and I was so frustrated. And I was like, Scotty, please move. Let's go home. Let's finish this walk. I have a ton of stuff to do at home, please. But of course, he wouldn't listen. So eventually, somehow we got home, but I was so exhausted and so stressed out. So I called his owner. Her name is Niha, and I said, Niha, what's wrong with Scotty? He has this weird thing. I don't know if he's tired or what. He just hates walking. What's the deal with him? He just like stopped and refused to walk. And Niha said, oh yeah, he does this all the time because if you go down a direction that he doesn't want to go, he would just stop. If you go the other way, then he will start walking. So you just let him lead the way. You just observe which direction he wants to go, and you will have no problem with him at all. It will be, a piece of cake, a walk in the park, literally. So I hung on the phone and I started thinking, right, it could have been so easy, right? But I was so focused on getting him to walk in a certain direction. I was so focused on that single minded task at a micro level that I was so persistent at it that I forgot to look at things at a bigger picture. So I feel like this is a very good reminder for me and for a lot of us. You know, um, you often hear people say, in order to be successful at something, you need to be persistent, right? You need to keep at it, and no matter how much rejection you get, or no matter how much setback you face, just keep at it and be persistent. That's how you succeed. So, but I feel like we really, the reality is more fine tuned than that, right? So I feel like the walking Scotty for me is the perfect metaphor for life. So Scotty is like a metaphor of life because he has his own agenda of where he wants to go, right? So if my agenda doesn't fit his, then I would be having a hard time. I would be making my life so much harder if I persist on a micro direction. Because on a bigger level, my goal when I was walking Scotty is to get him some exercise and get him back home safely, right? That was the goal. And my goal wasn't to get him to walk in a certain direction. But somehow, when we started walking, when I started executing this task, this goal, then our mind tends to get focused on a micro level, and that micro level goal becomes a, almost a substitute for the bigger goal. And sometimes we just lose sight of what's really important. And for me, at that moment in the middle of the street, I thought my goal was to get Scotty to walk in the direction that I wanted him to walk. And that was actually not the goal. And I completely forgot that, right? But that's the thing is when you're very persistent in going in a certain direction, and you're kind of tunnel vision and you stopped looking at the cues that life is giving you, then your persistence becomes counterproductive, right? So, and there was also a bit of an ego involved. It's like I was almost like competing with him in terms like let's see who is stronger. Let's see who can lead the way, which is completely unnecessary for me to achieve the goal that I really want, which is to get him some exercise and take him home, right? So I feel like this is something really a lot of us, we could keep this in, we could use a reminder of this. We should keep this in mind is when something is not working, and yes, persistence is virtue, but it also depends on like what are you really persisting on, right? So I feel, if you have a higher level goal, that's something you want to accomplish in a longer time frame, like 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. If there's somewhere you want to go, that bigger goal at the back of my mind, that's something you want to be persistent about. You don't want to give up on that, like your long-term vision of your life or of your work. But in terms of how you get there, there can be, millions of ways to get to that bigger goal in life. And for most people, I think our bigger level goal is to be happy, to have enough resources and to have great relationships and to make a positive contribution to the world, right? So I think at that higher level, at that macro level, every one of us, our goals are pretty simple and those goals are pretty straightforward, and you should never give up on those goals. But in terms of how you execute your actions to get there, there are a lot of fluidity and flexibility and different choices that you can take, right? So I feel like sometimes when we are so single focused on a particular aspect of the tactic or the action, we forget that that is not the only way to get to where we want to go. And so when we are that single focused, then we forget to use our intuition and to follow the cues that life is giving us. So so that's why I'm very grateful to Scotty today for reminding me of that lesson, which is, choose what you want to persist and insist on, but be fluid and be flexible in your tactics and in your approaches, and really follow the guidance that life is giving you, which I feel like all of us, we have this internal guidance, and whenever we do something, we also receive feedback from the external environment, and life is telling you which direction will get you warmer instead of colder, in terms of achieving what you really want out of life. So that is a very, very useful lesson to me, in both my personal life and in business and in work. So I'm very, very thankful to Scotty today. All right, so this is day 19 of the Gratitude Gym. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe and share this with your friends. I'll see you tomorrow.